So to me, this is the best designed Samsung phone so far, and honestly, personally, it is enough of a reason just for me to upgrade, but I know that's not a good enough reason for everybody. So let's get into it. Is the Galaxy S21 Ultra worth upgrading to now mid 2021? So one of the main things to consider when upgrading to pretty much anything is the price. And no matter how you look at it, this is an expensive phone still. But I just want to go over the different prices that I've seen so far. So if you plan on getting this through a carrier, it's still full retail price. I haven't seen any sales. So you're going to be paying $1,200. But if you're willing to pay full price, you can pick it up on Amazon for $1,000, or there are some renewed versions for $900. And all of these prices are for unlocked phones, and I'll have them linked down below if you want to check them out. But if you're like me and you don't mind using like local marketplaces, I know I use a lot of OfferUp and Facebook Marketplace and Let Go and stuff like that. You can pick this phone. I've seen it for as low as $700. Yeah, you may get a few more scratches, or you may find somebody who's kept it in great condition, but you can figure that out as you actually go to pick up the phone and look at it. But those are just a few options. But no matter which way you cut it, it's still an expensive phone. And let's get into what you get for that price. I'm going to go over some of the main things that I consider when upgrading to a new phone. So firstly, I want to talk about the design of the phone. Like I said earlier, this is by far, in my personal opinion, the best looking Samsung phone to date, like ever. Like it just looks absolutely amazing. Even comparing it to like, you know, the S21 and the S21 Plus, they look good, but I feel like this phone really looks amazing. And it's a thick boy. Like this is a thick phone. When you're looking at pictures and videos, you can't really tell how thick this phone is. This phone just feels like it's a good phone. Like I don't even have to turn it on. All I have to do is put this phone in my hands and I pretty much know it's a good phone. I know that doesn't really work out for everything, but Samsung has built up a reputation with me and other people, I'm pretty sure, and they pretty much, I know once I've got it in my hand if I'm going to like it or not. And I knew from the moment that I put this phone in my hand that it was going to be great. I honestly feel like the Galaxy 20 series was like a stopgap. It was like when I saw the 20, I bought the S20 FE. That's the phone that I was using, that I'm still using, but I used prior to this phone. And I feel like the 20 series was just that stopgap. It was just like, it's not all the way there. When I saw the S20 Ultra and the Note 20 Ultra, I was like, it's not really quite what I want coming from the Note 10 Plus and the S20 FE. But once I saw the release video for the S21 and the S21 Ultra, I knew like that moment, I was like, I'm buying that phone. I don't really have to watch any reviews or anything like that. I'm buying that phone. And I ended up buying that phone. From just the design and the camera layout, everything kind of just fit perfectly. And I feel like the previous generation just it wasn't really cohesive. I feel like this is a better unit just overall. And the next thing I want to move on to is performance. I just want to get this out of the way. If you're coming from a 20 series phone like the S20 FE or the S20 Ultra, the S20 Plus, any of those phones, and performance is your main concern, I wouldn't really upgrade, in my personal opinion, simply because there's a certain point of performance where it's like the law of diminishing returns. I know I've heard people talk about that all the time. It's just like at a certain point, there's not really a lot you're getting back. And I feel like besides like maybe the camera, which I wouldn't really put in performance, I would put it in its own category of camera. But I mean, you've got the same 120 hertz display. You've got the same beautiful OLED display. Great chips, even though one is a generation behind. I mean, I don't really see any lagging from multitasking or playing video games or anything like that from this phone or the previous generation. And while I say that, I only mean the 20 series of Galaxy phones. If you're coming from like a Note 10 Plus or any 10 series device, I believe this is an absolutely great upgrade for performance. You can definitely see the difference. It's night and day, especially when you factor in the fact that the 10 series did not have 120 hertz displays, and that just makes a world of difference on its own. And the next thing I wanted to talk about is the cameras. Now, this is it's a strange topic for me simply because I do not take a lot of photos on my phone. If I want to take some nice photos, I'll probably use my camera. It has Wi-Fi, so most of the time I just transfer it to my phone later on. I don't really post to a lot of social media, so it's not really that much of an issue or a concern to me. But I know a lot of people like taking a lot of pictures with their cameras or want to have that sense that they know it's going to take a good picture regardless. And I honestly feel like the same deal as the performance. I feel like the cameras are definitely better, especially considering all of the problems that were present in the S20 Ultra. I'm not sure if all those got ironed out, but they were having several issues with the camera. This camera runs really smooth. I don't have any problems. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to give me a great image or a great video. You can record up to 4K 60 on the front and back camera. And I mean, if you've come from any of the past 3 generations of Samsung phones, you know it's going to take a good picture, and it's only gotten better with time. But I do want to reiterate that if you're coming from a 20 series phone like the S20 Ultra or the Note 20 Ultra, there's not going to be a huge difference between the two, in my personal opinion. Like, most things are going to seem pretty similar. All right, so first I want to go ahead and get started with the camera on the front side, and this is shooting at 4K 30 frames per second. And from where I'm sitting, it looks pretty good. You know, YouTube's going to do its compression deal, and it's not going to look as good as it does on this end. But from where I'm sitting, this looks absolutely amazing. And this is me just switching over to the camera on the rear, still shooting at 4K 30 frames a second. And you guys go ahead and let me know in the comment section down below if you think that the camera looks good. I would love to know your opinion. Alrighty, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is battery life and charging. So I don't really go into huge numbers with the battery life. Just know a lot of people have quoted like 11 hours, 12 hours. This thing is definitely enough to get you through maybe like a day and a half on, like, I would say moderate usage. I'm a power user and it gets me through a full day pretty easily. Like, I watch a ton of videos, play games, anything you can think of. Wi-Fi's on all day, brightness at 100%. 1440p on the screen, not 1080, and 120 hertz adaptive frame rate all day long. So I pretty much get through a full day with like 20-30% left on the battery, and that's with me using it heavily. And I have no issues at all with the battery on this phone. Where I do have an issue is the fact that it doesn't support 45 watt charging. Not because I use 45 watt charging, but simply because I don't understand why the last generations could support this charging speed, and all of the different competition coming out with 65 watt, 100 watt, and Xiaomi even with their new 200 watt charger that can charge in like 8 minutes. I don't even know, like, it's an insane amount of time, but I'm not really upset about it because an hour to charge my phone isn't really such a bad thing, which is about the time it takes me. But it takes me about 1 hour and 6 minutes, which is on par with the previous generations, if not a little bit faster. And that's my main thing. I usually can let like subpar battery life slide if it has fast charging, but this thing has great battery life and a pretty decent charging speed. Not the fastest by any means, but it's definitely still passable even in 2021. Disappointed me a little bit for a phone that costs so much more money than the Note 10 does. Like, you can pick up the Note 10 Plus for like, I picked mine up for like $300-400, and it still has 45 watt charging. So I don't understand why they didn't add it. I like extra features, even though if I don't use them, there are plenty of people out there who probably already have 45 watt chargers, and it would be nice to support it. But I don't really have an issue, and I don't think anybody would have an issue with the battery life and the charging speed on this phone. And the next thing I wanted to touch on is something that I kind of really had to focus on a little bit more once I got this phone, and that is accessory accessibility. That is a lot to say. It's almost a tongue twister. And what I mean by that is basically how easily can you get your hands on cases, screen protectors, any type of accessory you may need for your phone. And I would say that it's not very easy. Like, maybe Best Buy is the only place. Like, I would like to see, like, I've been to a few Walmarts, no S21 cases, no screen protectors, but there's still screen protectors and cases for my Note 10 Plus and other phones. You know, iPhones have their stuff everywhere. Target's not even an option for an Android user. They don't have anything for Androids. They mostly just have at least in my area, they only have like iPhone stuff. They have like 3 aisles of iPhone stuff and then like a little tiny section for some Android stuff, and it's just not that nice. Another thing that I had a big issue with is screen protectors. Now, when I originally bought this phone, I got it I got it from Verizon, and I ordered a Glass Fusion screen protector, and I thought that it was actually a tempered glass. It was not tempered glass, it was plastic. I'm not exactly sure where you can find a decent screen protector. I ordered 4 or 5 different screen protectors online, and they all have this weird circle cutout that kind of messes up the fingerprint sensor, and I think it's for making it better, which I don't understand. I easily find cases for, or screen protectors for my S20 FE that don't have this hole cut out, but for this phone, I could not find that. If there's a difference between the fingerprint readers on the S21 FE or the S20 FE and the S21 Ultra, please let me know in the comment section down below, because I haven't been able to figure it out, and I don't know why they're selling these screen protectors with this small cutout. 5 tempered glass screen protectors down, and it leaves that ugly little circle ring that looks like it's like some type of air bubble trapped underneath it, and I had to switch to a plastic screen protector. Not even at Best Buy did they have a tempered glass. They only had the Glass Fusion, which is just plastic glass. I don't know what it is, honestly, but I feel like the accessories could be a little better for this generation of phones. I'm not sure how it is for the S21 and the S21 Plus, but I don't really, if you're looking for accessories, I would just try to find something that fits you the best on Amazon. I know a lot of people don't like waiting a few days just to get something that they don't like, but I would try out something on Amazon just because in stores there's not really a big selection, and even online some of the things are not really what you would want, specifically the screen protectors. And lastly, I just wanted to make a few honorable mentions, things I really didn't want to go too deep into, because at this point, I mean, Samsung can't get these things wrong. Number 1, the display. Yes, the display looks beautiful. I don't think it could get any better, but I've said that before and it has gotten better, but honestly, the display looks absolutely amazing. 120 hertz refresh rate looks absolutely stunning. We know Samsung can do displays, not a big issue if you're considering upgrading. It's as good as any generation has been, and even better if you can imagine that. Next thing I wanted to touch on is software, and I wanted to make this an honorable mention as well, simply because at this point, even my Note 10 Plus is updated to Samsung One UI 3.1 and Android 11. And I'm pretty sure they have plans on upgrading those to 12. I know this one is going to go to 12, but I didn't want to make too much of a deal about the software because it is the same throughout the generations, and it looks as good as it did on the previous phones. And I just want to say, if throughout the video you thought that I was being a little bit too hard on this phone, it's not that I was being too hard. I actually bought this phone not just for review purposes, but because I wanted to buy this phone. And I have to say all of the things that I thought about as I was using the phone. The performance is great. Yes, of course, I expected that, but it's not really anything that's like just mind-blowing and nothing really too new for me. Mainly the design and the cameras are my main 2 points of contention. And also, like what I said with the cameras, yes, it's a great camera, but at the end of the day, my main consideration is it really worth upgrading? That's what this video is for. And like, that's a hard one. Like, how can I tell somebody not to upgrade to this phone when I've done it myself? Especially if you're a 10 series owner, I would say this is like an automatic yes, like definitely. If you invested in the Note 20 or the S20 FE or S20 Ultra or something like that, I'm not really sure if it's really worth the upgrade. Personally, if I had bought one of those phones, I don't think I would have upgraded. I may have bought it at one point just to do a video on it just because I like the phone, but if I had a Note 20 Ultra or S20 Ultra, I don't think I would have upgraded as fast as I have. I probably would have ended up paying that phone off completely and then upgrading. But yeah, it's just kind of like a mixed bag, honestly. It depends on what you're looking for in a phone. If you're the type of person who just likes new tech and likes to upgrade, and say you've paid off your last phone, or you know, you're upgrade eligible, or you just have the money to blow on it, definitely get it. Alrighty guys, that is the end of the video. If you liked the video, please leave a like down below. If you have any questions for me, comment those. I'll get to them as soon as I can. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, please consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Take it easy.